Hey, welcome back everyone. In our previous video, we have seen how to find commands and how to run commands. But when you have to run commands, you need to understand the syntax of the command. After you find the command, now it's time to understand the syntax of the command using get help commandlet. In order to understand the syntax of a command, you can use get help followed by the name of the commandlet for which you want to find the syntax. So in this example, we'll see the example for getting the details about a service. Get service, hit enter. Now when you take help for any commandlet, you will find it gives the name of the commandlet followed by the synopsis, which is the short description of this command. It talks about what that command does, and here if you see, it shows you the syntax of the command. But if you observe, it is showing you three different syntaxes for this command. These are called parameter sets. That means this command can be used in three different ways. Now what is a parameter set? Parameter set is a collection of parameters which can be used together. Now in this example, there is at least one parameter in each parameter set which makes that parameter set unique. There are certain parameters which are common in every parameter set, like this computer name, which is present in every single parameter set which is shown here. Similarly, you have include, which is available in every single parameter set which is available here. But if you observe the differences, the first parameter set has something called as display name, which is not there, which is not present in any other parameter set here. Then in second parameter set, you have input object. This is the parameter which makes the second parameter set unique. And if you look at the third one, it has this name parameter which makes it unique. Now the deal with this parameter sets is anything which is not present in other parameter sets. For example, display name and name, you cannot mix and match those parameters while running the command. And when you try to run a command, it will rather give you the clues that this parameter when you're using, after that if you try to use the second parameter, that parameter will not be displayed in the ISC IntelliSense list. Let's try that. When you say get service, with get service you can specify the name or display name. Now when you are typing the first parameter in this commandlet, that time you will be able to see all the parameters which are available. But once you choose any of the parameter that belongs to a particular parameter set, it will stop displaying you the parameters which belongs to other parameter sets. In a while you will understand what do I mean. So for this first example, I am going to select the name parameter, and here I'm going to give any service name like bits. Now after I have chosen the name parameter which belongs to the third parameter set, since display name is not part of this parameter set, now you cannot use display name. And again, similarly, input object is also not part of the third parameter set. That's why you cannot use input object also. What will happen if you try to use that? Normally when you run this command without using the parameters which are from other parameter sets, you will get the results when you don't mix and match those parameters. But suppose you want to forcefully type that parameter name here, just to see what happens. Now the first thing is, now if you try to type display name parameter, that parameter is not available in the IntelliSense list anymore. Once you choose a parameter that belongs to a different parameter set, it will stop displaying you the parameters which does not belong to that parameter set. So anyways, if I type display name without depending on the IntelliSense, I'm manually typing it, and here I'm selecting the same service, background intelligent transfer service. This time I'm selecting the display name. So as you can see, it is running into the error saying parameter set cannot be resolved using specified name parameter. And the same thing will happen if you try to use input object along with name or input object along with display name. So that's all about the parameter sets. Next thing is, when you look at the syntax, it shows you a lot of symbols like this square bracket, this angular bracket, a pair of empty square brackets, and in some cases, like when you look for the help for get wmi object commandlet or some other commandlets, you might also see curly brackets with some values within that. So let's try to understand the meaning of these symbols. So with this first example, let's just identify what does this mean. Wherever you see a square bracket, any values which are given inside a square bracket, those parameters are optional. That means you can run command without using those parameters. Now in this case, when you look at this, almost every parameter here is enclosed in a square bracket. That means you can run this command without passing any parameters. You can directly run this command. Anything which is inside square brackets is optional, and in this case everything which is listed here is inside square brackets. Now let's try to understand what is the importance of this empty square bracket. Wherever you see an empty square bracket, that means you can pass this type of value which is given inside an angular bracket, and here empty square bracket means you can pass multiple such values. So in this case, for computer name you can pass multiple strings, means multiple computer names you can pass to this hyphen computer name parameter. Let's try that. So I will just go back to this normal example, and here, since computer name parameter is common in all the parameter sets, I can use it with every parameter set that I'm trying to use. Whether I use name, whether I use display name or input object, I can still use computer name because computer name is present in every parameter set. Now, as I said, computer name parameter accepts multiple strings as input. You can specify multiple string names. So currently, since I am not connected to a network, I don't have any other machines, so I can pass uh, localhost comma localhost. I'm passing the same machine name multiple times. Now when you run this command, assuming that these two machines are two different machines, it will show you the status of the service from two different machines. But since currently I'm repeating the same machine details, it is showing me only one result. Okay, but if you look at the computer name parameter in the syntax, it clearly indicates that it can accept a string value, and it can accept multiple string values, because after string there is a pair of empty square brackets. So far what we have understood is anything which is inside square brackets, that is optional. Anything which is inside angular brackets, that talks about the data type that should go as input for that parameter, and an empty square bracket means you can pass multiple such values of this data type to this parameter. Let's take another example. Get help. Now there is something called as alias. In PowerShell, for this command there is an alias called help, which will return the same results. That is just another shorter name given for this command. I will say help get WMI object. Now this time, if you observe, this commandlet get WMI object is available for getting instance of WMI classes or information about the available classes, and this acts against a local computer, or it can fetch the information from a remote computer as well. Now why I have taken this example, I wanted to show that here in this example there is at least one thing in this parameter set which is not optional, it is mandatory. That is passing the name of the class as a string value. What does that mean? We will see in a while. In a couple of minutes we will see that. Before that, let's take a look at other data types which are listed here. For example, this throttle limit, which is currently set to integer. So that means for throttle limit you have to pass integer value which is of 32-bit integer. This is the data type. Now if you look at the credential parameter, it requires PS credential, that is a different data type. For authentication, if you look at this here, this is a new symbol which was not present in the earlier example. This curly bracket means for this parameter you can pass any of these values which are given inside the curly bracket separated by this pipe symbol. That means when you give this, try to give the values for this parameter hyphen authentication, the moment you hit space it will show you the list of these values, and you can pass only these values. If you pass anything else it will throw error. Same goes with the impersonation. For impersonation you can pass any of these values like default, anonymous, identity, impersonate or delegate. You cannot pass anything else. So that's all about understanding the syntax. Let's take one example and understand how that works. When you say get WMI object, since hyphen class was a mandatory parameter, it was not optional, you have to give its value. If you don't give the value, it will ask for the value. We have seen this in the first video as well. So here I will provide win32 underscore BIOS, for example. It will give me the details about the BIOS. So let's try to understand how you can utilize help in a better way. What other options we have with the help. So while taking help for any commandlet, let's go back to the simple example like get service. When you give hyphen full, it will show you the complete help including the examples. There will be a lot of examples given here. So in this case, I think around 10 examples are given for you to understand how to use this commandlet. So let's talk about, apart from these were common, apart from name, synopsis, syntax, description is something new which was not shown earlier. It is showing the description, but the important thing that you should understand is the parameters. When you go for the full version of help, it shows you every single parameter and its details. What type of input value is required for that parameter and what that parameter does. Along with that, it also tells you whether that is a required parameter. In this case, there is no parameter which is a mandatory parameter. If it would have been a mandatory parameter, this required flag would have been set to true. Then there are certain parameters which can accept values which are given in position. It can accept values from that position. But in this case, there is no parameter. Just let me verify. Yeah, name parameter will accept the values which are given at position number 1. Here the index is starting with 0. That means after giving the command, when you don't specify the parameter name, here the parameter name is hyphen name. Even without giving the parameter name, if you directly pass the values, it will assume that this parameter value, this value which has been given after the command, this parameter is supposed to take that value because this is the only parameter which accepts the value based on the position. Otherwise, it will be shown as named. Wherever it is written as position as named, it cannot accept the values or it cannot pick the values from the given position. And this thing tells about if there are any default values specified for that parameter. This thing we will discuss while we will discuss about the pipeline in PowerShell. We will talk about the pipeline. I will explain this thing in detail. I think that will be the 4th video in this series. So currently this is the 2nd video. After this we will try to understand how to manipulate the output. After that we will take a look at understanding the pipeline, how pipeline works in PowerShell. Now this accept wildcard characters, this will give details whether that parameter can accept wildcard characters like where, like, and all those things. Let's go back to the 2nd example to understand this better. Get WMI object. Now in this example, there will be 2 parameters which can accept value from the position. Like the first one is class, which can accept the value which is given at position number 1. Here the index is starting with 1. There is no index or there is no parameter which accepts the value from index number 0. So the first parameter here which can accept the value from the position is class, there is another parameter called property, which can accept the value at position number 2. So let's try that. When you say get wmiObject hyphen class BIOS. Now when you run when 32 underscore BIOS, when you run this command, if you see, it is showing me 5 properties here. But out of these 5 properties, if I want to see only few properties, I can just select the property names. And since property parameter can accept multiple values separated by comma, if you look at the help, property parameter can accept multiple string values. I can select name and version. So this will show me only those 2 properties which I have selected. And what you see here, these are the system properties. Uh, these are system generated. Those will come by default when you go with the selected properties. Now I can run this command without giving the parameter names, because these 2 parameters can accept values from the positions, and I can expect the same results. As you can see, it is giving me the same results because those 2 parameters, class and property, are capable of accepting values from the position. That's even when I pass the values, those values will be linked to the corresponding parameters based on their positions. Let's take a look at another way of taking help. You can also search for the help when you say hyphen online. It will show you the online version of this help topic. Instead of that, if you want to see that in a window, you can use show window parameter. This is useful because when you look at the help topic in a window, in earlier examples we need to scroll back and forth when we have to refer to the help. But when you run the command to show the help topic in a new window, you can refer to the window while keeping your PowerShell session intact without scrolling up and down. You can just refer to the help topic. And another good thing about the window is here you can search for some words or keywords. Like if you want to search for say property parameter, so you can give hyphen property, and when you click on next, it will show you, it will jump to that keyword what you're searching for. Apart from that, here in the settings you can specify which sections of the help topic you want to see or you want to hide. Suppose I don't want to see everything, I will remove everything and I will just keep examples so that I can see only the examples. If I want, I can go with the description, inputs, or whatever I want. So as you keep turning on and off, only those sections from the help will be displayed. If I turn on everything, it will show everything. This is the full version. So that's all about taking help from PowerShell for commands. Next is, there are certain topics certain help topics which are available in PowerShell which are not related to any commands. Those are called about topics. So how do you find all the topics which are kind of theoretical references? You can say help about underscore star. It will show you all the topics which are giving you the description or the details about a particular, like in this case, if you want to learn about aliases, what are aliases, you can select this help topic followed by the help command. You can give this help topic name. If you want to learn about the classes, or if you want to learn about how to use if condition, how to use for loop, or how to use sessions, how to use signing, anything that you want, these are all conceptual topics. These are not related to commands. For example, you want to understand about the comparison operators. You can say about underscore comparison underscore operators, and you can see that in a new window for your convenience, and you can refer to this. This is not about any command. This is all about the concepts. These are conceptual topics. This will give you a lot of good description and examples to explain that topic in detail. So I would recommend you go through all these about topics based on your requirements. Looking at this help, you will realize that when you have PowerShell help system available, you don't need to go to Google for anything related to PowerShell. One more thing I would like to mention here is, starting with PowerShell version 3 onwards, PowerShell does not come with help. I mean, when you install PowerShell, help documentation will not be part of your PowerShell installation. So if you are not able to see these help topics, you can run this command update help hyphen force, and remember, when you are running this command, you need to be running your PowerShell as administrator. If you're not running as administrator, it won't be able to update these topics. It won't be able to download the help topics. So you need to be connected to internet, run this command. It will download all the latest help topics from Microsoft and install it automatically on your computer. So if there are any commandlets or if there are any help topics which you're not able to see, you should first run this command, then you can try again. So that's all about uh, finding help, understanding the help system from PowerShell after you find the commands. So I believe before watching this video you might have watched my previous video, which is all about finding commands. In next video, after this video, we are going to discuss about uh, how to understand the output of the commandlets, how to explore the properties and methods which are available as part of the output. So you will see that video soon. Thank you for joining.